Hello everybody, Adam here, and before we get on with today's episode, we are coming to the end of recording for this chapter of the Coldfire Chronicles, and as per usual we're going to close off with a table chat and a question and answer session. If you've got any questions you want to ask the cast, get in touch, let us know. You can do it via email at forcemajeurepod@gmail.com. You can send us a Facebook message on Facebook Messenger or post it onto our Facebook page. You can tweet us or direct message us. Both of those are at Force Majeure Pod, or you can ask us a question on our Discord. We do have a Discord server. There is a question and answers channel in there, so feel free to pop on there and put your questions in there, and we'll do our best to get through them all when we record that session. Right, let's get on with it. You know how it goes. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
Don't stand there in a snit, Lovey. Just stick the flyer in his boot.
Madam, the efforts you make to represent the company's name are admirable. Lest you forget that I have been classically trained and performed in the company of nobility. My name is still spoken in North Ward. I will not sully my dignity by courting the patronage of this unconscious riffraff.
Nonsense, Lovey. It's just a bit of advertisement to get the word out about our shows. Heidelberg Bartleby's Theater of the Incredible has a nice ring to it, but since you scared off the last of the gladiators with your offers to help practice wrestling, the seats need filling.
You can't possibly fault me for the unreliability of those amateurs. I was attempting to help them get into the spirit of the farce. Their expressions were entirely too plain, and the pacing of their drama too slow.
No harm done if we can find a couple of replacements to send to Mr. Bartleby. By the light of our smiling lady. Look there, Lovey. New adventures head into the Strangled Carp. I bet they'd make a good addition to the show. Let's go have a bit of a chat.
Good folk, are you looking for a spectacular performance right here in Dockward? Let me direct you to just the place.
Catch the crew of the Glass Dagger every other Tuesday on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or at CompleteNight.com. That's night with a K. Or you can send us a friendly message at the Glass Dagger. You know, those direct messages, they cut to the heart of it, don't they? I really could use a message.
You forgot to say Twitter that time.
Are we on Twitter? We're on Twitter?
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Coldfire Chronicles episode 14. My name is Adam and I'm your host and the GM, and I'm joined round the table by...
Hi, my name is Ed Fortune. I play the character of Oberon Brick. He is a human hunter-seeker. His emotional strength is justice and his emotional weakness is cruelty.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I play Jiren, a Chiss mystic advisor. His emotional strength is his enthusiasm, but his emotional weakness is his recklessness.
Hi, I'm Mim. I play Lassa. She's a human sentinel artisan. Her emotional strength is her curiosity, but her emotional weakness is her obsession.
And I'm Ross. I'm playing Agatha, a Morailan warrior aggressor, whose emotional strength is his pride, but whose weakness is his anger.
And before we get started back on today's episode, a question from our characters.
Lassa, do you think we're going to survive this? I am scared.
Survive? Possibly. Make it out in one piece? Evidently not.
Oh, too soon.
That was a little mean. Are you all right?
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make up for you not being 100% in the game.
I'm still carrying it.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. I don't know how to deal with this. This is more than we'd normally get into.
It is fine. You're new to humor and you're using it randomly and slashing out. It's okay. I can give you a hug.
I don't want to go down that hole.
I can give you half a hug.
Half a hug's better than no hug.
I feel better. I don't know why, but I feel better.
This is a little out of my league, I'll admit.
Yes, the comedy, yes.
Ooh, like the fact that you might have lost your arm, but none of your sparkling wit.
There's a joke about being a half-wit, but I'm not going to do it. It's. Anyway, shall we go on and get killed by a big monster?
We rejoin our heroes, having discovered a tunnel leading down into the heart of the asteroid upon which they're perched. They have chosen to investigate the rest of the ship before plunging themselves into the Stygian depths below.
We don't want to go down the hole.
We haven't decided to do that yet. We really, really haven't.
It's only a holocron, let's go.
Mama, I don't want to go in the big dark pit with no oxygen.
They have made their way back into the main cargo bay. They have turned the gravity off and traversed to the upper deck of the cargo hold through the gaping hole in the floor decking. As they are hovering in midair, gathering their feet, the doors to the medical bay on this floor have ground open and figures have moved in the darkness. Charging out from within the darkness of the medical bay are 3 figures. 2 of them are similar to the animatronic corpses that you've already encountered and that did such grievous harm to Jiren. They are both, or were both, Weequay, and again there is the telltale servo motors on their shoulders, the comports drilled to the back of their skulls, the jerkiness of motion as they advance. Behind them, moving significantly more slowly, and not yet entirely visible, is a towering figure. Not a droid like the harvesting centaur that you fought below. Still very indistinct in what little light's being cast here. All you can see is that they are very, very big, very, very broad, and are moving towards you. Initiatives, please, and it's going to be a vigilance test.
Okay, so that's 3 successes from Jiren.
No successes, 1 advantage from Lassa.
1 success, no advantage from Agatha.
So that's 3 successes and 5 advantage.
Okay, the batting order is NPC, because those triumphs, 2 player characters, the second NPC, and 2 player characters. So it's kind of nicely balanced. The first NPC group that's going to go are the 2 fast-moving corpses, and they are barreling forward as soon as the doors are opened, and they are going to attempt to clock Oberon. Seeing as he's standing there, he's carrying the biggest armament, and almost as if there's some intelligence directing them to what is perceived as one of the greater threats, or at least as far as needing to get closer so that rifle can't be brought to bear.
Are they in any way impeded by the sudden switch in gravity?
They don't appear to be. Once again though, their fingers and toes are hooking onto the grates on the floor, using it to propel them.
Are we, or in particular Agatha, debilitated by the sudden gravity?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's not sudden, but yeah, you are not used to fighting in 0G, so the penalties you had for fighting in 0G previously recur. Oberon, do you have any melee defense?
I do have a melee defense of 1.
Okay. And I'm going to flip a dark side point. That is 2 success, 1 threat, and a triumph.
Ooh.
Okay. So, the successes are going to do to you 7 damage before soak.
Okay.
The threat is going to give the next player to act against this minion group a boost die. The triumph is this. Oberon, you are hit with great force, you are propelled into the air by these 2 groups, and you lose grip of your rifle. That's just the gravity, since it's being off momentum, is throwing that out into the upper deck of the cargo bay. You are flying backwards through this lack of gravity, propelled by the momentum of these 2 corpses that are tearing at you.
Okay.
In a big twisting, tumbling group.
Okay, so it's a PC, is it?
It is. First player character.
I recommend Oberon.
As I fly back, the rifle is going the opposite direction that I'm going in.
Yep.
I'm assuming.
Remember, you have a pistol.
So I grab the pistol, the antique pistol at my side.
Yep.
Which I believe comes to my hand quite easily.
It does. It seems to leap into your hand as if hungry for blood. Or at least hungry for combat.
And that's not ominous at all.
I'm almost in a supine position, kind
Yep.
of sitting, and the thing that's crawling
We're
away,
in a bundle of limbs at the moment, but yeah.
I figure out where the head is.
Yep.
And I try and execute it.
Okay. The normal difficulty is 2 purple and 1 black. However, I'm flipping a dark side point to make it a purple, a red, and a black.
That's 1 threat, and that's 4 successes.
Okay.
Oh, and I get plus advantage, so that's threat close as well.
Yep.
Because it's superior. So that's no threat and 4 successes.
Okay, so your damage is
8.
12. Okay, that is enough to take one of these out already and to seriously damage the other one. So what does that look like?
As his rifle flies away from him, there's a brief look of surprise, and then a look of total calm. Pulls the pistol, points it at what he thinks is a head, and its head explodes, and the shot carries on into the back of the other creature. It kind of jerks back, he jerks back, and we get a shot of Oberon looking at the pistol and going, nodding in approval, as if he's just had a glass of fine wine.
Next player character.
Just so I can visualise that, Oberon being the first into that space and these things have just barreled out from behind the door, have they just careened into him and all 3 of them have just gone spinning off behind the rest of us?
Yes.
Okay, leaving us in between the big towering thing and Oberon flying backward.
Yes.
Agatha moves forward into the space to see what the big towering thing is.
Okay.
Quick appraisal of how threatening it is, but
Okay, so
hitting it.
You kind of scull in to engage with it. There's a bit of light coming, but when you're close enough, you can now see enough of it to get an idea. It looks like at one point it was maybe a Dewutin. Very, very big, massive, tusked humanoid species. They grow very, very large. And indeed, this was well, if it was to stand up completely straight, it would probably be pushing 9 foot tall and about 6 foot wide. It's not standing up straight because its 2 arms have been replaced with what looks like the arms of a lifter droid. Those very, very big, 3-fingered, heavy, gripping, shufting limbs. And the weight of those is causing it to move like a gorilla. So it's almost moving on its knuckles, hooking into the grates on the floor and using that to pull itself along. Again, it's been dead for quite a considerable period of time. It has 2 comlinks screwed onto the back of its head. And you can see as it hunkers forward and as you move in, that as well as its arms being replaced, there has been some form of reinforcement across its shoulders and back, so that as this thing does its job, as it lifts huge heavy items, it won't tear itself apart from its body not being designed to lift. But yes, that's what's moving in. It's very slow, but it looks like if it connects, it's going to hurt.
I'm torn on this one. Agatha would want to be in between the threat and the rest of his team.
Good news, you presently are.
Yes.
Success!
It's your lucky
What's
day.
your next...
But Agatha probably wants to try and use some smarts on this one.
Oh, don't start now.
I know, it's new to him, this whole smarts thing, but targeting, a weak spot like those antennae would probably be more sensible than hand on hand. So that looks like the weaker point rather than, it's like groin or something.
Well, you're probably smart enough to identify its equivalent of the groin, and if Agatha's the sort of person that would kick a Wookiee in the centre pocket, then I'm pretty sure...
Are you telling him to aim for the fork?
What I would say, just on a brief digression, this thing has been dead for centuries. A hoof in the happy sacks is not going to do a great deal other than maybe have your foot caught in its rotting pelvis. I mean, I'm not saying...
I'm saying, Agatha already worked that out from the last bunch of combats.
Yeah.
He's the one using, complicated words like centre pocket.
Just punch it, Chewie.
I want to punch it in the antenna, really.
As you engage to it,
Yeah.
I'm going to make you roll a fear test for me.
Okay.
Because you've seen the sort of damage that even the smaller ones can do.
Yeah.
And this is bigger and designed for lift. It has clearly been augmented beyond the others for strength and toughness. So it's a average discipline test.
We have a success and a threat.
Okay. The success is that you are not terrified of it. The threat, I'm going to pocket that threat for future shenanigans.
Oh dear.
As you've kind of gone in, you've taken pause enough to go, okay, it's more of an Agatha kind of resigning himself to how much this is going to hurt, I think, more than anything else. You might not be afraid, but you are bracing for impact, so I'm going to give you a setback.
This is kind of represented by the fact Agatha didn't just go, I'm going to jump at it and hit it in the first place. He sort of went, that's big. Where can I hit it?
Yeah.
Rather than just, I'm going to. Okay, what have I got left at this point?
You've got an action. You have engaged.
I'm going to try and punch it in the antenna.
Okay.
I mean, it's tall but not hitting the ceiling because it's sort of crouched.
Yeah, it's hunched forward, yeah. And also, you're in 0G, you can pull yourself up on it to get an overhand strike.
even if I wasn't, I'd try to use Force Leap or something on it, but...
Yeah, I'll factor in that you have that force-enhanced movement.
Is it Sil 2?
It's not Sil 2, it's still on the Sil 1. Okay, so, as a cold... Oh, actually, a cold shot costs 2 strain, it's a manoeuvre. So I imagine that for this first blow, you're not going to do that because of how low your strain is.
Yeah, I guess it's quite one in a minute. He's conserving strength.
What I'd say then is make your normal attack and we'll see how the dice fall. If there's advantages or triumphs there, then we can parlay what that works out. It is an adversary, so your difficulty is 1 purple and 1 red, and I'm adding 2 setback die for the 0G. Okay, so make your attack roll.
Okay. 2 advantage, 1 failure, but I have 2 light side points and a dark side point. I will spend the light side points. 1 success and 2 advantage.
With those advantage, do you want to try to target the comlink on its one of the 2 comlinks on its head, or do you want to regain some strain? What do you want to do?
We recover some strain.
Okay, so your damage is then...
I'm using shock gloves, so it's going to be 3.
Okay, so that's 5. Unsurprisingly, given how big this thing is, that hit didn't appear to do a great deal to it. I mean, it's tough, it's big, and it's dead. So you do land a fairly solid blow on it, but you're used to seeing things reel more when they're hit that hard, and this doesn't particularly.
Okay.
But you got some strain back, your blood's now back up, long enough time has passed that the anaesthetic's out of your system. Clearly that adrenaline kick is getting the old Agatha motors running again.
Good, as long as it's focused on me, I suppose.
It is its turn. Do you have any melee defense?
I have defense of 1.
Okay, so here's a weird one. That's no successes, but 6 advantage.
Uh-oh.
So here's what it does. It grabs you, not causing you any damage, but it hurls you the length of the upper cargo bay. Absolutely yeets you like you did the Harvester droid and Lasser. Hurls you the length of the cargo bay so hard and so fast that you actually pass Oberon and the groups that he's fighting before you impact upon the wall at the far side of the cargo bay. Not hard enough that it does you any damage, but you are now way, way out of the combat.
Okay.
It then uses that momentum to propel itself to engage with Lasser and Jiren. Again, not hitting with enough force to hit them. It's not fast. It's just barreled at them and collided into yet another group of limbs that are flailing around. Next PC.
Do you want to go first?
I can try.
Yeah, go on then.
These are all vaguely mechanical creatures. There must be a way for me to just turn them off. I was wondering whether my manipulate force ability, it's normally for mending things. Mm-hmm. But these things are made of, you said this big thing is a combination of different things.
Yes, it's certainly a lot more cyborg than the ones you've previously been fighting. Both of its arms are complete droid arm replacements. It's got an awful lot of reinforcement across its back, and looking now that it's right into you, around its hip joints as well, so that it doesn't tear itself apart while lifting huge things. You can make an educated guess, Lasser, having now seen it, that this is what was created to move the power plants and engines out of the engine bay. But yes, this is certainly, compared to the other ones, this is significantly more mechanical than the other ones have been. I would allow you to try and do something interesting with Manipulate if you want.
I'd like to try and use Manipulate to unplug a cable inside it, or to sever a fuel line. Something that will slow it down or cause it to have issues in either communicating with its body or sending power to its whole body. If I can reach in and mend something and hold it together with my force, could I reach in and undo something?
Yeah, okay. That sounds to me like I think I want a mechanics test from you.
Okay.
The difficulty is going to be 1 purple and 1 red. As we did on the Harvester droid, I'm treating this essentially as a combat test, but I'm letting you use your mechanics instead for a similar reason.
And I'd like to spend a light side point to upgrade one of those greens to another yellow.
Okay. And yeah, you already get to roll your force die as part of the mechanics test, so it all seems to tie into the same ethos, really. That's why I think it works for you, that you can make this roll. So,
do I have enough time to ask Jiren how the heck he does it? Jiren, how do you use your brain?
Very complicated question. Now, the first thing I did... No, there's not enough time.
No, I wouldn't say so. I'll let you add a boost die to that as an aim. as well, essentially, because you're focusing your chi.
So that's 1 success, 3 advantage, 1 dark side point.
Now, it seems to me that tearing something down is far more of a use of the dark side than the light.
It is, and considering she's quite angry, quite tense, even though she was joking with Jiren a minute ago, this isn't her natural situation, and she's going for pure destruction, so I'm going to use it.
Okay, so you need to flip another light side point over and take a strain. Now, your intellect's 4, isn't it?
No, it's 3.
It's 3. You got how many successes?
I got 1 success.
No, you spent your dark side, so 2.
Oh, so 2 now, yes.
Yeah, the dark side point's not for the success. The dark side point's to activate the power, so...
Oh, so in that case, it is just the 1 success and 3 advantage.
Now, your manipulate, when you're using that to heal, what does that normally do?
I can spend a point to cause a vehicle or starship to recover 1 system strain. I shape machine components on a molecular level,
Okay.
allowing them to mend damaged mechanical systems.
What I'm going to say then is, so your intellect's 3, you get 1 success, so that's 4 in total. By spending that dark side point, I will allow that to completely bypass its soak. It doesn't have strain, so that'll do 4 wounds to it, completely bypassing its soak as you start tearing parts of it, the connectors between its mechanical components and its organic components, as you start shredding those. Does that seem fair?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
As you do that, you feel that anger, that fury leave you, and you can see highlighted within it weak points, and you just push them and sparks start to fly inside it, and yeah, it starts moving less smoothly. There is clear damage being done to it, and in fact that seems to have had a considerable greater effect on it than Agatha's punch. Sometimes it's the fine things rather than the brute strength. Last player character
Okay, so I'm currently engaged with the big lifter
as well.
monster.
Yes.
Jiren has the pistol in his hand.
Yep.
And wide-eyed, he points it at the creature and pulls the trigger.
Okay, so it's 1 purple and 1 red and 1 black for its defense and firing a pistol in melee.
And another black for missing an arm. And let's do a roll. Oh, no. So that's 3 failure and 1 fret.
At least it wasn't a despair.
No, that's true.
I'm going to give you a strain
Okay.
as you just kind of draw your pistol and just fail to engage it.
He's wide-eyed. He's not really looking where he's going. This is the first time really he's used a pistol in combat, and it shows. It's all over the place.
Yeah, back round to the top, and I'm going to carry on, I think, for the moment with the massive lifter that's engaged with the pair of you as it lashes its arms out at Lasser, who it has identified somehow. Jiren's pistol shot, it didn't notice it went wide. It doesn't know how you've done what you've done to it, Lasser. It just seems to know that you did. What's your defense, please?
I have no defense.
I'm afraid that is 4 successes, an advantage and a triumph.
Oh, he hits hard.
He does. That is 11 damage before soak, and I am going to crit you with that triumph from the sheer force of the impact hitting you.
Okay, 11 with my soak of 3 makes it 8.
8 damage.
I only had 8 wounds left.
So that knocks you out.
That knocks me out.
Okay. Which would automatically crit you anyway. So I'm not going to spend the triumph on critting you any further. I'll just roll the normal crit. It is going to spend its triumph on hurling you, your unconscious body, the length of the cargo bay. Again, just backhands you massively out of the way, almost contemptuously, with one mighty, crunching, backhanded blow. And the crit it's done to you, actually it's probably a less serious one for you, is an agonising wound. So when you do recover, the difficulty of your brawn and agility rolls are increased. Had it not had Vicious, it would have been Headringer, which does it to Intellect, and that seems like it would have been a much more serious problem for you, but you know, that's a level 2 crit, so it's a 2 purple crit. Okay, first player character.
Somebody who can do something.
Can I shoot something?
That's the one.
Yeah, you can.
So I've got one still scrabbling away at me,
You have.
and I have a pistol in my hand,
You do.
and its big jaws are opening as it's trying to bite me.
Yep.
I think I've got a perfect thing to put in there.
Okay.
Remember, we had an advantage against the next thing attacking the thing that you're fighting.
Yep, so it gives you an extra boost on this. Difficulty is 2 purple and 1 black, but you gain a boost.
That's 1 advantage and 10 damage.
Okay, that is enough to take it out completely. What would you like to do for your advantage?
Can I also get my grapnel off? fire it off as well?
Not for only one advantage.
Can I spend some strain as a move?
It's an action to fire it, unfortunately. If we were talking a triumph or 3-4 advantage, then yeah, I'd hand wave that away, but for one, it's...
If I shoot it in the face, it gives me enough momentum that I can get to the back of the room with the rest of the party.
I have a suggestion. Can you do anything to stop Lassa from smacking against the wall while unconscious?
Okay.
Can you do anything to cushion her?
Yeah, no,
That I'd allow.
So it puts its mouth in my face. I angle the very powerful pistol. It goes off. And I just see the opportunity to then just catch Lassa almost by the arm.
Yeah, okay, I'll allow that. Yeah, you grab her as she's being hurled across space. So the two of you are now spinning, pirouetting, kind of being dragged back a little bit by her momentum, but she's certainly not winging her way across the entire upper space to bounce off the wall like Agatha did. Next player character.
Does Jay really want to take this opportunity to be not the only person stood right next to the big thing?
That is exactly what I'd like to do.
Okay, manoeuvre to move back.
Jiren looks up at the huge hulking beast and goes, no. Using the beast's gorilla legs as a thing that is not parallel to the floor, kicks off the legs and pushes backwards towards Lassa.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Can I get an engaged area with Lassa?
Yes, with Lassa and Oberon, yeah.
Yeah, so I do that, arm outstretched, and grab hold of her ankle, and then I'm going to use Knowledge's power as my action, and I'm going to pump a load of healing into her.
Okay.
So that is 3 light side points, and Lassa regains 9.
Wow.
9 wounds.
9 wounds.
Do I wake up straight away?
Yeah. Alright, Jiren, Lassa, paint us this picture.
So Jiren, as I say, puts one foot on the loader, gorilla-like loader feet, and kicks off as hard as he can, flying backwards, vaguely controlled. His arm is flailing as he does so, and he closes his eyes. And that's pretty much why he's flailing, because he doesn't really know where you are. He knows what direction you're in, and he reaches out with the force, feels for the panic and feels for the terror, and calms himself. We can do this. We can do this. And he puts his hand, grabs hold of Lassa's ankle as she flies backwards with Oberon, and he just lets the light side of the force, the calm in him, push through her and pushes positive energy into her. Your wound, the horrendous, I imagine, kind of bludgeoning wound, kind of seems to pull together. The bruising where you were hit centers out, and you can hear a crack as maybe a couple of ribs which had cracked just pop back into place. You come back around, and Jiren is grabbing onto your leg as we fly through the air, eyes closed. He looks almost serene. He looks calm for the first time since we got here.
Hey, Jiren, look, we're like flying Jedi.
I don't know how to stop us. Oh, hello, Oberon.
Jolly well done that, Chiss. We're about to hit that beam.
Well, I'd rather the beam than that gorilla thing over there.
Next player character.
Are you awake enough to break your own fall, or do I want to catch them, or do I want to... Well, I hit the wall first, so I want to go and try and punch back in the opposite direction.
Propel myself back, grabbing them on the way, yeeting them into the big gorilla.
Oh, no.
Well, it is traditional.
I feel better. Smash.
I'm not trying to push all them in the direction of the... I'm happy either to stop them hitting the wall, or go past it and hit the gorilla again.
You're presently a medium distance away from it.
I have a lot of force sleep.
Obviously, that would ordinarily be 2 manoeuvres, but yeah, you can force sleep that far, can't you? Is it 1 light side point per thing, Bob?
I can spend light side point to increase power's range by a number of range bands. I've got 1 range in this.
Yeah, so that moves up to medium. Okay, so yes, would you like to make me a force sleep test then?
Okay, so there's 2 dark side points available there. Agatha is not happy. Well, if I don't spend these points, then he's gonna hit a wall and just not do anything. So
just so you are aware, in the interest of transparency, okay, your options now are flip your last light side point, take 2 strain, and then that will let you engage with it, or just drop your action to a manoeuvre to get to short range, but then that's your...
Either way, I'm going to take 2.
You can take 2 strain to engage with it and flip your last light side point.
Or essentially get 1 step closer without getting any strain, which means you don't do anything this round, but it can't get to you either, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Agatha's been a bit more measured about this particular combat. We're going to do the slow way.
Okay.
Because it's moving particularly slowly as well. He doesn't need to hit it quickly. So we're going to do this the less strainful way.
Okay, so not use the dark side points, drop your action to manoeuvre to move to short range.
Yeah, short range, so I'm While the other three are flying behind me, he's going to be probably its next target, but he's somewhere on a gantry-way close by it.
And since your main objective is just kind of move in that rough direction, I'm not going to make you roll a concentration test because you're not at the moment trying to intercept it in one swell foop. You're kind of just propelling yourself in the rough direction. Last player character. Lassa, as the last remaining PC with a turn to go, what are you doing? You are conscious. You are in a bundle of slowly rotating hugs with Jiren on your ankle and Oberon on your shoulder.
She's a little bit disorientated, but that's probably less from the injuries, which is painful, but more for the fact she just used her brain to do something actually, willingly, and she doesn't do that very often.
You've used the Force to help you with your various mechanics tests and stuff in the last few episodes, but I think that was almost just, you are just pretty naturally good at mechanics, you probably weren't really thinking about it. This is the first time I think Lassa has actively sought out and used the Force to do something supernatural.
Yeah, the first time she did use the Force was to control an explosion, way back when she her first Force vision and meeting with Hijack, and he'd explained that without realising what she'd done was in this horrible heated moment tried to contain part of the explosion, but she hadn't really realised what she'd doing. It had been such an instinctive thing.
Yeah.
And before then it had been mostly meditation and learning to control it from an academic sense and from a casual chit-chat about homeopathy kind of sense.
And I kind of imagine as well from Lassa's attitude throughout the whole chapters so far that she probably thought that was a bit woo. You know, oh, all right, I've clearly got something going on, but it's just, yeah, whatevs, PJ. And though you've shared in Force visions, again, they were always seemed to be at the instigation of other people, and you were kind of caught up in it.
It's a bit like magical diabetes. It's something that people can live with. It's, that some people are more diabetic than others, and some people just get on with it and deal with it, and some people are really diabetic. So she's just treading the waters now.
Oh, there's two there are. Type 1 and Type 2.
And Modi. So yes, with her space diabetes.
So what are you doing?
What am I doing? I don't know. I don't really feel up to doing much. That's the thing. Lassa's a little bit, oh, what did I just do? Ow, that really hurt. So she's just going to point her blaster pistol at the big thing. I'm going to use maneuver to aim with my pistol and then fire it at the big thing.
Okay. It's adversary 1. You're at short range. I'm going to spend a dark side point to upgrade your test. I am, in fact, going to throw in 2 setback for the 0G and your momentum and that whole swirling around unpleasantness, I think.
Okay, this is an impossible roll for me. I only have 2 green dice. 2 threat.
Okay. What I'm going to have with those threat is, as you kind of draw your pistol, you have to shake off Oberon and Jiren a little bit. And you draw your pistol and you fire. And the recoil from that pushes you back a further range band. It restores the momentum that Oberon arrested. So you're now on the far side of the loading bay.
Okay.
But you don't hit with enough force to do any further damage. You hit the wall. You just, slide across. Push yourself. Back to the top, and it is the Gorilla Dawutin huge Colosson droid. And the huge Colosson droid, it continues its forward momentum a little bit. Takes a second to take stock of the situation. Locks its eyes on Oberon as being the next most dangerous threat and pushes itself out into the air to meet you and impact on you. Now, this is not graceful. Unlike the more humanoid, the Weequay corpses, so on and so forth, that were moving quite agilely in the 0G, this thing is a blunt instrument. It's just hurling itself forward. So I'm going to have to make a coordination test to try to engage with you.
Okay.
It fails with 2 threat, so it carries on past you, missing you completely, and the angle of its trajectory bounces it off the ceiling, causing it to kind of get stuck almost in the docking clamp that leads up to the Pathfinder. And because of it's so slow, it is not capable of taking 2 maneuvers in a turn. So it can't get near anyone, so it uses its action to just reposition itself on the ceiling, centre itself, stop its momentum, and get ready for another push-off. But that is all this thing can do at present. Next PC, or first PC.
Can I go next?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it depends, actually. Where is Oberon's gun?
Oberon's rifle has travelled away from you. It is technically short range away from you. It is resting on the wall above the airlock, if you can picture that in your head. So the airlock is on the floor below it.
Yeah.
And it's on that side of the ship that you came in on. But it is short range away from you.
Okay.
And it's come to rest against the wall.
Then I would like to use my manoeuvre to push off to go and get it.
Where you presently are, there's not really anything to push off against because you're just kind of floating in the air in 0G. What I would let you do is, if you make a successful coordination test for me, is similar to how Lasser did with the pistol. You fire your pistol at the opposite side of the wall and hope the recoil gives you enough shove to
We shall give it a go.
travel you across. It's a coordination test. It is 2 purple. There is no setback for the 0G because that's what you're relying on.
Okie dokie.
Fun in 0G with recoil, my loves.
I am going to try that.
Okay.
Well, it's an advantage, but no successes.
Okay, so yeah, you don't make it all the way over to there, but I'll let you travel some of the way. You're up against the wall,
Yeah.
but it's just the angle was off.
Okay then. Can I therefore spend a bit of strain to use my Actually, I can use my action to change to another manoeuvre to actually get to it.
Yep, and because you're against the wall, I won't make you roll a coordination test because you could just hold onto the wall and crawl across the wall. I'm happy with that, and that gets you to the rifle. Was your plan to hurl your rifle Oberon at the rifle Oberon?
That is entirely what I was going to do.
Okay.
Is it count as an action or a manoeuvre? Sounds like it might be an action.
Yeah, be an action. So yeah.
So can I spend strain to get an extra manoeuvre and then use the action to throw it at Oberon?
Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. Athletics or ranged light, I think, since it's
They're both the same.
okay. The difficulty to get it across to Oberon is 1 purple, which I'm flipping a dark side point to upgrade to a red for the lulls, and I'm going to give you a setback die because of the awkwardness of hurling things around.
So that's a complete wash apart from a despair. Oh,
Here's your gun. Bang.
Bang.
Oberon?
No.
Oberon?
What happens is this.
yeah.
You miss Oberon,
Mm-hmm.
and the trajectory of the rifle brings it within reach of the big droid on the ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
who grabs it by the barrel and slams it into the ceiling, breaking it. It's repairable, but it is presently broken. As he just smashes it into the ceiling.
Oh, his little face.
It is clear from the way this thing's working that the intelligence that's guiding it is either cleverer or processing faster or has less inputs it has to worry about. Certainly there appears to be a level of combat tactics that the other things you fought hadn't really had.
The rifle smashes and Duran goes, catch!
Next play character.
Oberon would like to take a turn.
Okay.
Well, at least you tried.
I've lost a lot of blood.
It's fine.
Also a lot of arm.
In the back of his head, he's sitting there going, the only thing that ties me to my family, it's fine, it's fine. He carefully aims his pistol, because I'm still at the right range.
You're still at short range,
Yeah. Well, how does a cold shot work again?
Right, a cold shot is a manoeuvre.
Right.
It's a type of aim. You can take 2 black to target a specific point on its head. If you were then to spend 2 strain to take a second aim manoeuvre to carry on your cold shot, it would drop that down to 1 black rather than 2.
I'll take the 2 strain.
Okay. Your difficulty is 1 red for its adversary ranking in the range, 1 black for your cold shot, 2 black for the 0G. There are 3 light side points on the table if you want to use one.
I'd like to take a light side point if no one objects.
No, not at all.
Okay, so that's 10 damage, and because it's a superior weapon, that's 3 advantage, which means it crits.
Okay.
I was trying to hit its sensor web.
Yes, you did. You hit its sensor. Right, ordinarily, for a flat roll, it would be 1 wound left, good to go. You cold shotted its sensor nodule, and you got a crit. So rather than rolling on the crit table, that takes it out. I think that seems right to me. What does that look like?
He, again, is very, very, very calm. He's actually huddled into a ball on this breath. You think he's about to shoot, and then he realises they're actually aiming in the wrong place because the centre nodule is actually slightly to the left. So most of the housing's on the right. And then he fires, and it just ragdolls.
Yep.
Like, there's a shower of sparks, and it literally, everything just disengages, its head drops down, and it just ragdolls.
And because of your cold shot, it's intact. So it can potentially be investigated further because it's just a precision. Okay.
I think it's down.
Agatha, check if it's alive. I'm not going near it.
It is very clearly deactivated. I will say that. It's just hovering limply in the air.
Okay. Oh, Oberon, I'm really sorry.
It's fine. It would have been very useful had that got to me. We're not expecting them to be this intelligent.
No. I don't think that was Mr. Fletch.
As we're out of rounds,
Yep.
having not used the integral grapple gun in my equipment for the entire show so far, I use it a lot because clearly we've spent some money on the CGI. Zipping around to get us all into one place.
Okay, and get your rifle back. Do you want to bring its body down as well?
Yes.
So, okay, that's fine. This is an opportunity for people to roll discipline or cool test to recover strain as well.
Lasser, are you okay?
I've been better.
That was amazing. In fact, you were all amazing. I thought it had us.
Oberon, I can probably fix your gun.
Please.
Not right now, if that's all right. I don't know how the air is doing, but I'm not feeling great.
We might need it.
For reference, those of you who are breathing the air of the ship will now be adding a setback die onto every single roll because of how thin the air
I
is.
put my mask back on.
Agatha's breathing ship air.
Shall we take a look at this room first, then take a look at the
Yeah.
Pathfinder?
You make your way into the medical bay, or what was the medical bay. It has been, I think the kindest phrase is, repurposed. There is clear evidence that this is the room where the Zomborgs are being assembled. The lighting in here is very, very good, much like in the engine room, presumably to make it much easier to see what's going on. In one corner of the room, there is a foul stain where it appears that bodies have maybe been piled, and where parts that were no longer of use have been allowed to deliquesce. There are 3 medical beds in here that are equally filthily stained. There is a charging port for a medical droid, but no medical droid. It's possible you've met it. There are also a number of droids in here, mostly kind of protocol-esque droids, humanoid droids, that have all been broken beyond repair or usability, and you can see where parts have been harvested from those broken medical droids, and then the shells have just been dumped in the corner. There has likely been at least one more bed in here that's no longer there. For a pirate vessel, this is a really well-equipped medical bay, because there's only 20 crew. To have 4 beds in the med bay, but I suppose pirates have more risks associated with their careers than others. There is an area where medical supplies were stored at some point that is presently unlocked, but the cupboards are closed.
Are there any oxygen canisters around?
Yes, there is. There are 3. None of them are full, but there are 3 in there that can buy you some more time. There's probably about half an hour of very good air in there for normal activities, maybe 10 minutes worth of strenuous activity, but they will certainly do the job. With Lass's skills and gaffer tape, can be rigged up to be easily portable by members of the crew.
Can we rig one up to replace Agatha's broken breathing things?
Yeah. Agatha's main problem is going to be when you go back out there is the coldness of space, but that is a problem for shortly thereafter when you've finished your tasks in here in any event.
Just zip your coat up. You'll be fine.
To be honest, I'm thinking we shove him in a box.
We need to take a look at the Pathfinder. If we can detach that one, we can get Coldfire's Mercy over.
All right, but we've still got the box idea to fall back on.
Yes, I suppose yes. Agatha, you're not claustrophobic, are you?
Are there lights in this box?
I'll take that as a yes.
This is what I think we should do. Kill flesh. Once flesh is dead, the creatures should stop, right? Yes? You think?
Potentially, aye. It seems that they've got some central unit.
Once that is done, we all who can go back across to the Coldfire's Mercy. We then dock it. We then collect Agatha. We then blow this ship to hell.
Yes. Shall I clear the Pathfinder first?
I really think... How long will it take to fix his gun? Because I pass you your pistol back. I think that runs out of juice.
It's about to be, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, until I can get a good look at it. I mean, is this all the pieces?
You could do a patch job that will give it 5 shots fairly easily, but after that the power coupling will need to be completely replaced. or you can try and repair it completely. That's probably going to take you about an hour of dedicated work.
All right.
We don't have that hour.
We don't have that hour.
I'm happy with, well, what we call a lash up. For now, that'll do.
All right. First of all, I need to sort out this oxygen, so if you don't mind, if you could continue to make sure that everything's all right, I will sit down and get these.
I'll go and climb over the top, it's fine.
Groovy.
My kit is quite useful for athletic stuff because it's a hunting gear.
So I'm not going to make you roll, Mim, because it's not a hard job for someone of your skills, and also I'm not worried about it too much. It's something you can do without too much difficulty.
While Lassa's doing that, I'm going to do the climb round to the Pathfinder entrance.
Okay.
Because I'm not expecting any surprises at this point. I know what to expect.
Okay.
So I go in,
Okay.
take a look round.
The Pathfinder is not pressurized. There's no power to the docking clamp. So as you start to kind of winch it open, there is as it starts to suck air in,
Close it, close it, close it, close it.
I close it.
and you manage to close it.
Can Mim do the mechanics test against the gun? If it is so easy, she might get a triumph.
The mechanics test that I wasn't making a roll was for the oxygen. For the gun, yes, it's a mechanics
We'd
test.
like to do all of our easy tests, please, especially when we have lots of yellow dice.
It's 2 purple to repair the rifle to patch job it up.
All right.
Any advantage we can get right now.
This whole situation of Lassa rigging up the oxygen tanks, then repairing Oberon's gun, it's about 15 minutes. But it's 15 minutes of breathing peacefully, breathing calmly. Because these are these oxygen masks and they're the first thing that Lassa sets up, it's not going to impact too greatly on your overall oxygen supply on my tracker.
Okay.
While we're doing that, I look for extra cabling that we can use as rope.
There are bandages, lots and lots of bandages.
I'm thinking more we're about to crawl down a hole, so I want something to hold on to.
There's no gravity in the asteroid, because it's an asteroid.
Point.
I'm just checking because I can control item damage, which means I dedicate a force point to it being a working gun, but I'm like holding it together.
Yes, so if you want to do that, while you're holding his rifle together with the force, that will make it work perfectly, but while that's committed, you will not be able to roll your force die for any mechanics tests.
That's not worth it. That is not worth it.
It depends if she needs to make any more mechanics tests.
Yeah, exactly.
Depends how important this gun is to you.
If we're going to fight anything else, you need to have a weapon you can really do damage with.
So we see if we can lash it together to now. And it falls
Yes.
apart.
Just do a bot's job.
Okay, so what did you get, Mim?
With 2 light side points, I can turn that into 2 successes and 1 advantage.
Okay, so what I'll say is that the gun is working. It was going to be limited shots 5. If you want, Mim, you can use that extra advantage to make it limited shots 6.
I'd like to do that. Let's give him a really good gun to send off with.
So yeah, so you got 6 shots from this rifle before it's defunct. Unless, of course, a load of threat comes up, but, we'll worry about that later. So, with Oberon's rifle now being back worked on, with the oxygen supplies now being patched up, with this top deck clear, there is only one place left for you to go. Into the asteroid itself. And that is where we're finishing for this week. Before we go, this episode's patron is Andy Castle. Andy has been one of my oldest friends. I've known her over half my life now.
Andy's been a friend of the show and a friend of a lot of the people who are on the show for a long time. She has been really supportive of everything and likes a lot of the shows that we like as well. It's wonderful to see her enjoying the show, and thank you very much for being a patron.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Right, for the rest of you, we will see you next time. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for this season is Unholy Night by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. If you like the show and want to interact with us, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, all of which are at Force Majeure Pod, though Twitter is probably where you're going to find us more regularly. If you enjoy what we do and want to support the show, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is via our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod. The second is by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod. And the third way is by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere where you can find us. We really like reviews. It tells us that we're telling the stories that you want to hear and helps other people find us. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.